Hi, Leah.
Hi, Kamna.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I am a little under the weather. I don't know where I picked up this
Mhm.
bug, so I'm gonna try to not hack and cough into everyone's ears, but it might
You'll be
happen, and
fine.
I'm sorry in
Just mute.
advance.
You mute, and I'll fill in the silence with this nonsense of rambling talking. How about that?
I love
That
it.
should it shouldn't be too hard for me to do. Don't
It's a
worry.
great plan. I love it.
Okay. Yeah. So, where do we begin this week?
Well, today's topic kind of fits in line with how I feel is guilt.
What do you
If
mean you feel it right now?
I feel a little bit guilty that I have to record with a very nasally voice and I might be
Oh my
coughing
gosh,
and
for real? You really do?
a little bit, yes.
Hmm. Okay.
Guilt.
Don't feel
How
guilty.
do you think guilt plays a part in your daily life?
Yeah, I'm sure. It's even more than I'm even aware of it. I'm sure. And if you don't feel guilt, I think you kind of aren't being honest with yourself. What do you think of, right?
I think some people feel it more than others.
Yes, I agree with that. Do you think it has to do with if you're more of an anxious person, you feel it more than others?
Maybe. Maybe it's your upbringing, maybe it's how you've been raised or just your
Oh,
natural
that
personality.
inner
Who knows?
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be
It's
an
gonna be
interesting topic.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. So what about your call to action from last week?
I probably had 60% success. So my call to action was to go dairy free.
Oh, yeah.
And I said I was gonna like I think we recorded on a Wednesday or a Thursday. So I said I'm gonna start on Monday. It's real crazy, like why Monday? Who knows? But I said I was gonna start on Monday and I dairied it up that weekend. I
You,
had like
are you making that a term? Was that a
I'm making it
verb
a
or
term.
what?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes. I had
Dairied
cheese.
it up. I
Yeah, I
like
had
it.
cheese and ice cream and I was like, oh, I'm just enjoying it before, I have to start being dairy free. And then Monday came and I wasn't dairy free. But by I think now for a full week I've been off of dairy.
Do you miss it?
Yeah. I mean I love cheese so much. I'm the
Is
real stuff.
is it easy for you to do dairy free when you are sick?
I think it's better because not to be gross for anybody, but dairy produces a lot more mucus, which is not
Yeah.
good when you're sick and then you're more
That's what I mean.
hacking.
So maybe it's a good time to start giving it
Oh
up.
yeah. I think yeah, definitely it's timing is really good for sure.
Good for you. So 1 week about
One week.
100%?
Yeah,
And are you going to keep doing it?
I'm gonna keep doing it. I don't know that I really feel any real difference yet, other
Okay.
than I feel a little bit less bloated, but I could just be an artifact of my mind. Who knows?
Could be.
Then you know what happens is I'm like, maybe I don't really have a problem with dairy. Maybe I can have dairy.
So why do,
And
yeah, actually, that's a great question for anybody listening. Like, why do you feel like you needed to give it up?
there's a couple of reasons. I think I actually do have a problem with dairy. I get very bloated. I think I explained
Okay.
before. But I think dairy in itself has a lot of hormones that affect us negatively, especially
Mm-hmm.
women who are of a certain age, might increase the instances of hot flashes and
Oh,
other menopausal symptoms. So it's better to avoid it. I'm not going to
okay.
be like 100% off. So occasionally, if we go out for ice cream, I might have it. But as a rule, probably I will be off of it.
So you'll be off of cheese.
Yeah, which I love.
Mm, I know.
I
How about
love
goat
cheese.
cheese? Is
I don't,
that,
I don't know. Does goat cheese count as dairy?
I don't, I believe my sister-in-law can have goat cheese and it doesn't affect her. But I don't know that for sure. But I'm pretty sure
Oh,
she has told me that before.
the only problem is I don't
Oh,
really like goat cheese.
well, then forget that.
Well,
I don't know if I've ever tried it, so.
how was your call
Um,
to
well,
action?
actually, while you were talking to me, I was looking it up and I don't think I remember what it was.
You were going to think about what did we talk about
I know,
last
I know
time?
I have written down that I was going to leave one bite. and I
No, no,
failed
that
at
was
that
before.
one. Right. I failed
It
at that one.
it was about laziness. We were gonna think about something.
I was gonna do something with it, and clearly I didn't do it.
You didn't do it.
No, but I did have a lazy day yesterday and I loved it.
Okay.
So
Tell
I
me about
feel
it.
like I mean, that was only one day, but still, I purposely did, but I guess you can't really say it was lazy because what I did was I busted my butt and got everything I needed to get done like before 7 a.m. And then I
Wow.
know, but that's me. I'm a morning person. And then I was like all watching movies and hanging out on the couch all day. But I did not call myself lazy even one time.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't. Not even once.
Did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, so
I
good.
did. I know. There was a couple times though that I was looking at my Fitbit and I'm like, oh my God, I got to move at least a little bit,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes, I
So,
do.
so I did.
Today I took a walk after 4 days of just laying on the sofa, and I was like, "Oh, this is exhausting. I need to go
Just
home."
walking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I could say, I think what I'm trying to say is it is hard for me to quote unquote be lazy. I have a very hard time with it.
Hmm.
Probably because I'm very judgmental about it.
Towards yourself.
No, towards other people. So then I don't want to
Oh,
be I don't want to be lazy because I judge other people. If I'm being honest with everybody, like the more I thought about it, even this whole week was like the whole topic about it. I was like, I'm pretty judgmental about it.
yeah. So you don't want to
And
seem like a
then so then
hypocrite.
I right. So then I don't allow myself to have that lazy feeling or laziness because I don't want to be a hypocrite.
That makes sense.
Does it? Or is it
Yeah.
really
No, you're walking the
shallow of me or what
walking
is
the
that?
talk. Isn't that
Yeah,
the
but is it
expression?
okay? Well, first of all, I mean, I'm sure everybody's judgmental in some way, shape, or form. So it's not that I'm really embarrassed about that part of it. What I'm more embarrassed about is the fact that I don't allow myself that little bit of wiggle room to just kind of relax. I don't allow it. And I think that
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah. So this poses an interesting question because with a couple of your call to actions, I'm seeing a theme
Oh boy.
of
Go ahead.
you,
Coach me.
well, of you not having time for pleasure. So do you have
Okay.
time in your day where you're just enjoying something
Yeah, I love
completely?
going to bed so much. I love it. I grab
Like
my
going to,
iPad.
okay, so you're not sleeping, you're just in your bed.
Right, but I usually fall asleep quickly.
Okay. But do you have other parts of your day where you're enjoying yourself?
No.
Hmm.
I mean, not like, yeah, so of course I'm enjoying myself with my family and my kids and stuff like that, but what do you mean by enjoying myself?
Well, like we've talked about how you sort of don't enjoy your food anymore, or maybe
Right.
you don't enjoy your activity, or you are just checking off lists, to get things done
Yeah,
to get to go to bed.
because I love it. I mean, maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
I don't know, it's
I
curious to
don't
me.
know. That could be something that I need to think about a little bit more. But I will circle back. This is not about me, but we'll circle back to this. I really, 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 really don't enjoy eating my food anymore. And I'm really struggling with coming to terms with that. Like why and what is it about it and all of that. So I really need to work on that.
I have so many questions, but I'm going to
I
save them.
really do. I really want to hear from other people too, because I'm wondering if there's a lot of people that don't enjoy their food anymore. They're just eating because they know they have to eat and they know they should be eating this
Do you
particular
feel
food.
hungry?
No,
You don't feel hungry.
no, no. When I feel hungry, I eat something.
Huh. Yeah, I would love
So,
to pose this question to other people is, do you feel hungry? We'll put a poll on our Spotify page, and whoever listens on Spotify, they can answer the poll.
oh yeah, because we could do that with our, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll
Yeah,
do
do
that for
you
sure.
enjoy eating,
Also,
right?
Yeah, and if you want to add more comments to it, I would greatly appreciate it. And I don't want you to just message me privately and tell me to be nice. Like I want honesty here because I'm really wondering, like, am I alone in this?
It's a good question. Well, and I think that's the reason why we talk about all these things is we don't
Yeah.
want to feel alone. We don't want
Yeah.
to feel like the weirdo in the corner,
Right. And let
Something's
me tell you, I enjoy my ice cream and I enjoy my snow cone when I have it, but I don't, that might be all. You
Do
know
you
what I mean?
enjoy it when other people cook?
Maybe.
Hmm.
I can't tell you the last time someone cooked for me.
Okay.
Right? I mean, so I don't
All
know.
right. All right. Well, we'll have to keep
Mhm.
talking about this because it's
I
really,
know. I feel like we could do an entire episode on food. Do you enjoy your food?
yeah, we should write that down before
I
we
know.
forget.
Well, anyway, I want to hear from anybody's take on it.
For sure. I
So
think I'm gonna put that poll up. So definitely let us know and let us know your thoughts because I really enjoy food a lot. So it's not surprising because we're always on the opposite
I
ends.
know, I know, I know. So I always thought I did, but I'm learning that I don't really.
Hmm.
So anyway, all right, let's jump into this topic because I didn't know where to go with this topic.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I know I have a lot of guilt in all aspects of my life, but I was like, okay, so now I have it. Now what? And I
Hmm.
didn't know where to take it. Like I thought of it as like if you have guilt and you put it in a backpack and it's on your back, like as
Yeah.
carrying it like a book bag. Like what the hell do I do with it?
Yeah.
I
We
can't
just
take it
always carry
off.
it.
Like,
We just
yeah.
always are carrying it around.
So I think that's where I was struggling with this topic because I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know why it's here. I don't know what to do with it. Can I take it off and leave it somewhere? Can I what do I do with it?
This is maybe not a fair question, but do you think men and women have different kinds of guilt, or do you think it's the same?
I
Or
would I think it's 100% different.
yeah, they have different guilts.
Yeah, I think so. What do you think?
I think so too. Because initially
You
I was like,
looked
oh,
confused. Yeah, you were like, hmm.
well, because you have like a bubble of thoughts. But I initially thought, oh, it's not the same. They don't have, but then I was like, that's not fair. Men have different, maybe
Right.
bigger
Hmm.
responsibilities or worries, and we have more of a microscopic level guilt.
So that's been in my head a lot this week is like the levels of stress and guilt. Totally not related to even this podcast. And I went, that's what some people will say. Well, mine's bigger than yours. No, it's all relevant to the person. Like, I can't say my son's freshman stress is not huge because to a freshman, it's huge stress. Like, sure, it's not making a mortgage payment, but it's all relevant to that person.
Oh yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So while I
absolutely.
think men and women are very quick to say, well, your stress isn't as big as mine, or your guilt can't be as big as mine, like it's all relevant to a person.
I think that's a really good point that we have to keep as our theme
Right?
because we get guilt because we compare. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
your life looks so easy, or it's so easy for you to organize all this stuff, or do all your activity, or
Right.
whatever the thing is that you want to do. But it's not that. Everybody has their own struggles and their own
Right.
challenges, and it's we just have different priorities. What are we making a priority versus what somebody else is making a priority?
Right.
And with the modern world the way it is, what we see isn't always reality. You
Oh,
know?
at first I was like, what are you talking about? But yeah, no, it's not reality.
So
Right.
like if you see social media and people are like, "Oh my God, that their life looks so amazing."
I'm going to give you an example of exactly
Oh,
what you're talking about for
okay.
anybody who isn't listening at all. Or, I mean, for anybody who, hopefully you're all listening. I meant for anybody who was like, what is she talking about? My son went to homecoming. Some of you might have seen, I posted a picture of him and my daughter, and I wasn't home. So I said to my husband, send me a picture of that. Make sure I actually said 10 because I know if I would have said, send me a picture, I would have gotten a picture.
Yeah.
So every picture he sent me was my house looks like a train wreck. It literally looks, and it really didn't at that moment. But where he decided to take the picture, there was an unfolded blanket, there was the vacuum was out, there was a pillow on the floor, there was like, and I'm like, what the hell? Why would he take a picture right here? So I cropped it and zoomed in to post it.
Mhm.
There's a
I
perfect example of how it may look like my kids are all together and all good and stuff, and everything looks nice in the background. Guess what? It's not like that.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you're right. It's what people show is not necessarily the truth.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, sorry, that was a side. I went off because I was really not happy about that. Let me just tell you all listening. I was like, really? You can't even go outside? It was a beautiful day. I mean, there's a million places to take a picture.
That was a perfect example though,
Mm-hmm.
because
So,
I didn't even see your background. I didn't even notice it.
oh yeah, because I had zoomed in so I get it like right perfectly.
I thought your kids looked really cute. I was like,
Well,
oh, they're
thank
so
you.
adorable. I didn't see
But if
any of
I
your.
zoom out, you would have looked at my living room and not the kids. You'd have been like, oh
Would
my
you
God.
would you have felt guilty putting that out there for people to see?
No, but I felt guilty that it was in that picture.
Mm,
I wouldn't feel guilty if I put it out there. I would feel embarrassed.
yeah.
So different type of feeling, not
Yeah,
guilt.
that's true. That's true.
You
Because it's
know,
a homecoming picture, so you don't want to project a certain
I
level of disorder.
I know. And listen, I wouldn't have, if I was home, I wouldn't have cleaned it. Let me just be clear. I would have just taken the picture in a different spot of my house. So anyway, let's go back to guilt. Where did you oh, so I started with, and I think we both started this way, making a list of things we're guilty about.
Well, but
So
even
do you
before that, do you want to
okay, go
start with the
ahead.
definition? Because that's our favorite thing to do.
I know, I know. Do you have a definition too?
I do.
I think
And
ours are
it,
different, right?
I think so.
All right. So what I
The
found
Go ahead.
is guilt is often a mask for feelings like inadequacy, low self-esteem, jealousy, and resentment.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what did you come up with?
An emotional discomfort you feel when you believe that you were responsible for something that offended or hurt someone else.
Ooh. Okay, I like that. That's like one side guilt. Like
Right.
because what about when you do it when you feel guilty over yourself?
Mm-hmm. There's
Like
there
not exercising.
My
That's where
list was so long.
this is what I mean. Like this topic was confusing because I was like, all right, so I feel guilty if I did something wrong to somebody else, but then I would also feel guilty if I don't exercise the way I should. And then I
Mm-hmm.
also feel like there's all these different levels,
Well, let's go
you
through the
know?
list.
All right, so what do you got?
So the first one, after reading that definition, the first one that came into my mind was many, many lifetimes ago, I used to work at this job and I would go and I would have to ask this person a question often. And I would say, I'm sorry for bothering you, but I have a question. And she would get so angry. She's like, stop saying sorry. You have
Oh,
nothing to
yeah.
feel sorry about. And her point was right, but it was a little harsh in that
Mm.
I don't know why I guess because I had to ask for help, I felt
Oh,
guilty about it. So then felt bad for interrupting her work and then for having to ask her a
oh my
question.
God, yes. Asking for help makes you feel guilty.
Yeah, because we're supposed to
What
be
a
able to do
great
everything.
example. Yeah. Or you don't want to ask in that situation because you don't want to feel stupid.
Yeah, like
Like,
you
what if
should know it.
like, I should probably know this. Like, why am I can't, then you feel guilty that you don't know it.
Yep. In that same job, I didn't understand anything they would talk about in the team meetings, but I was so
You're like, uh-huh.
embarrassed.
Yeah. Hmm.
I didn't ask anybody what they were talking about because I didn't want to look stupid and I
Right.
felt guilty for not knowing what I should know theoretically. But I was a new employee, so I don't know, it didn't make any
So
sense.
did you ever figure out all the stuff or you just faked your way through?
I kind of faked my way through it,
Good for you. Good for you.
I guess.
I mean, right? I mean, I don't know.
I don't
Wow.
know.
It's kind of
What
sad though that we're all do that. We all don't ask for help. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's something as stupid as opening a jar. Sometimes I'm like, ugh,
Yes.
Here you go. I feel guilty for asking you to, like, is it guilty?
Why
That
why
might
do you
not be
think you feel
guilt.
guilty for that?
I feel guilt because I'm like asking you to get up from the couch and come here and help me with something that seems so like I should be able to do this.
There's a trick for opening jars. Do you know this?
Is it you bang the bottom?
No. You take a spoon and where there's like a little groove in the lid, you put it in and
Yeah,
you release the air pressure on the jar and then it loosens the jar. The
really?
lid. Yeah. Did you get what I'm
Do
saying?
you bend the spoon?
No, no, you just put a spoon in into the cap area where there's like a little groove and then you push it enough in and it'll
They
release
have
the
there's a
pressure.
groove there?
Yeah. Anyway, that was a little side tip. So
Now I gotta go look at my jars.
if you don't feel like asking somebody else and you don't want to feel guilty, you can
Yeah.
try that trick.
Okay.
I will do 10 things before I ask for help for the lid. I do the spoon trick. I have a little jar opener. I have
Do you have
another
that
like
silicone thing?
yes.
Yes.
I will try so many things before I ask for help. And I don't know why. It's crazy.
It's because one, it's the twofold. It's you feel stupid, and then you feel guilty that you aren't like for me, the guilt is I'm not strong enough and I should
Yeah.
be because I work out with arms and I have no upper body. Like I go through this whole thing and it's like, just ask for someone to open the damn jar.
Yes. I
You know?
know. Yes.
Anyway.
I'm on the same page as you.
All right. Eating cookies or anything else, binge eating.
Ooh, tell
I
me
feel
about
guilty
this.
after that. You don't do that?
No, I do. I want to hear what you're
Oh, okay.
thinking.
Oh, I was like, I'm going to give you an example because it's more than likely going to happen coming up. Halloween candy will be in the house, and I will probably
Mm.
eat multiple pieces in a row and then feel so guilty that I just did it.
What is the guilt about?
I will, several things. I will feel guilty that I loaded my body with all this sugar and crap. And
Hmm.
I will feel guilty for the fact that I just did this to my body. I will feel guilty that it's not getting me closer to my goals.
Okay.
It's actually getting me farther away. So then there's that other layer, like I'm actually going farther away from the goals that I have. You know what I mean? Like I think there's lots and lots of them.
So, are you still writing down the foods?
No, you know what? I haven't in this week at all, or last week or this week at all. I need to start doing that again.
So
I'm still tracking.
you were writing
Yeah.
down the foods that you were going to plan for during the day with
Yep.
options,
Yep.
and you're not
Yep.
doing that anymore.
No. So because I don't actually have any candy in my house, but I just know that when that comes up, that I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna literally have to write down like 5 Reese's cups or whatever.
Well, Reese's cups are really yummy.
And they're really addicting.
They really are. It's something about the
So
peanut butter and chocolate.
I
I don't know.
know. But anyway,
Okay,
yeah,
the so
go ahead.
binging I think is sort of a big one. Like when you
Mhm.
overdo it, but I think that is like your word masking other emotions, right? If you're
Right.
stressed or worried or anxious,
Hmm.
that binging shows up as your friend, but it's really
Hmm.
not.
Mm-mm.
The other one I had was money. So oftentimes I will be the one who pays for things just because I'm a control freak. So, like, I'll buy the tickets or I'll buy the things and then I collect the money. But if I have to ask for money from somebody, I feel
Um,
so guilty to ask. And I feel embarrassed
is
and
it guilt? Maybe it is guilt that we feel.
I don't know.
I know that feeling though.
Yeah, I hate asking people for money.
Yeah.
Or if I have to pay somebody and I haven't done it in a timely manner, I feel really guilty.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on all of those
Both of
things.
those things are really, I feel all kind of emotions, but guilt is right up there.
Yeah. Money, that's a great one. I did not even think about that. Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
along with the money is I have guilt about spending money on myself, but I have no guilt about spending money on other people.
So much guilt about spending money on myself. I
What is
agree with
that?
I I just it's almost bad. It's almost bad.
What do you mean it's bad?
Like it's probably a problem that I won't buy myself anything versus spending. Well, I mean, I think it's different for me. I mean, I have two teenagers and there's constantly things that I have to buy them, not predicted and not in the plan. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I think that it's like, I better not buy this because what if this needs this or somebody
Yeah.
needs this? So I
There's
think it's just
another
my
crisis.
stage of life right now. But I want to hear about for you.
But I mean, just to backtrack a little bit, because I was there not very long ago,
Right.
you feel like there's always an expense. And at that time, I wasn't even working. So I wasn't bringing any income in. So
Hmm.
there's always a little level of guilt of, I shouldn't do this for myself because there's all these things, projects, trips, clothes. I mean, you just name it. The list is endless. But
Yeah.
I think some of that has stuck with me. It has loosened up, but I still think it's still
Mm.
there.
That's a great point. Does a lot of our guilt stay with us?
I think so, don't you?
Yeah. I just thought of another one, but another one while we were talking.
What?
Time.
Tell me about that.
I will feel guilty if I spend too much time on this, or
Hmm.
guilty not enough time on this, or guilty that I'm away from home too much, or
Yes.
guilty that I'm not giving my family space enough. Like time is a big guilt factor there.
Yes.
You
Oh
think
yeah.
so too?
Oh yeah.
Did you have that on your list or not?
Um, maybe.
Okay.
My list is very long.
Okay, go
Oh
through some
yeah,
more.
it was for wasting
Okay.
time.
Oh, so you did wasting time. Okay.
Yeah. Um, Guilt for throwing away groceries when they spoil or you don't eat them,
Yes.
or you've made too
Which
much food and it has to go in the garbage.
also goes back to money.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
Um, I've never done this one, okay?
I think you're all okay.
But scratching the car, not telling anybody that I scratched the car.
Oh my God, I do that all the time. Oh yeah.
For
Do
not
you feel
listening.
guilty about that?
Yeah, I do.
Mm. Is
I
it
don't
wrong if
know.
I don't?
No, I I don't think it's wrong. I don't think we should feel guilty if the accidents happen, right? And
Right.
the car might get dinged. And who
Interesting.
knows?
I'm just wondering if I feel guilty about that or if I just am like,
Okay.
it's gonna happen.
I'm gonna tell you a story. It's kind of embarrassing for me.
Okay.
I was late to go pick up one of my kids from school many, many years ago. So I was rushing to get out of the house and I backed up and I ran into the wall of the garage, like the rear view mirror got damaged.
Okay.
And
Or
at
the
the time
side mirror. You mean the
yeah,
side mirror?
that's
Okay.
what I meant. That's what I meant, the side
Okay.
mirror.
Okay.
And so it got damaged. So I felt so guilty and for no reason. Nobody was gonna yell at me or anything.
Right.
I started calling around to see if I could get a replacement part before anybody could find out. It's ridiculous. But this is how much
Oh.
level of guilt I have.
Is it because you had low self-esteem? Like you were like, oh, I don't
Maybe.
want anybody to think I can't drive
Or
or
maybe, yes. I always pride myself on being a good driver, but I was almost like, I'm so irresponsible. How could I run into the garage and wreck the car? I just felt
hmm.
so,
Yeah.
I don't know, ridiculous. And then I told my husband,
Yeah.
he's like, don't worry about it. We'll get it fixed. I was
Yeah, he's
like,
like,
oh,
it happens.
it happens. It's like, what are my feelings? I still felt,
But I was gonna say, I think it, I hope, I mean, I don't knock on wood or whatever. I think if you did it again, you'd still feel that same guilt.
I would, I
Yeah.
have.
She's like, yesterday, how did you? No, I'm just kidding.
I
Yeah.
haven't banged a mirror yet, but I have done
That
other things. So yeah.
was a good
Um,
one.
for not listening to your mother's advice.
Oh,
So I'm sick, so my mom's been telling me to drink this or eat this or do this. And I'm a lot of times I'm like, yeah, yeah, mom. Yeah, I will. She knows. She's like, you're not gonna do anything. Why are you just telling me, yeah, yeah? And then I think maybe if I listened to her, I wouldn't feel so sick.
so
So
you feel guilty that you didn't listen.
I feel guilty.
And that could go for anybody. You feel guilty if you didn't listen to anybody's advice.
Yeah. Yeah. Or,
Hmm.
yeah, especially if you're feeling rebellious and you're like, I'm not going to listen to you. And then it turns out to be the right
Right.
thing.
Right.
I have a few more. Um, for saving something for yourself when you know others would enjoy it.
Yes, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Have you ever done
Okay.
that?
Oh, yes, all the time. I'll hide it even.
Like the last piece of cake or
Yes.
the last
Or mhm,
few cookies or
I'll put stuff in the freezer because I know nobody will eat it if it's frozen, but I like
yeah,
it frozen. Yeah.
yeah,
hmm
for wasting time,
Yep.
for not tackling your to-do list, which is kind of the same
Yeah.
thing too. For not taking someone's complaints seriously. So, for example,
Oh,
if your kids say, this happened when my kids were very small, they're like, the milk tastes funny. And they're like, the milk is fine, but really the milk was bad,
yes.
And then
Oh
you
my
feel horribly guilty.
Oh my God, I was just telling somebody that this is a like bad, this is like worst parent of the year award was like my daughter has a pepper allergy, black pepper.
Oh,
It's really bad. Like she needs an EpiPen bad. And
oh,
all
okay.
these years we were like, stop being a baby. It's just pepper. It's just a
Yeah.
little hot. It's just a little hot. And here she was like, whole mouth, it's on fire. We were like, yeah, right. Come on. It's just pepper.
Yeah,
Like still feel horribly guilty about that.
of
Yeah.
course.
Right? So you're
Yes.
right. I never thought of that one. Like you feel guilty if you didn't listen to somebody's complaint or whatever. Yeah. Is
Yes.
that everything that you had? Because I
I have
have,
a couple more and then I'm going to let you
okay.
go. For
Okay.
not working out and then saying you don't
Yep.
have time when you
Yep.
watch TV for a couple of hours or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Have that
Pro-
one.
procrastinating.
Mm-hmm.
And for not showing up for work because you're sick or worried, and then you're worried about your job
Oh,
because you
that's a great
feel
one.
guilty for calling in sick or taking a sick day.
Yeah. Or just having something to do and you can't go to work.
Right.
Even if you're not sick, you're like, oh, I can't take off. And then I gotta, yeah. That's a
Uh,
really, that one could be very detrimental to your health, I feel
Well,
like.
I think this is where the idea came to for me is when we were in our call with action group and someone was talking about how their work is so overwhelming and they're burnt out, but they feel guilty for even leaving their desk. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, well, that's a horrible place to be that you need your job. You can't quit your job, but it's also affecting your health. And then what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So we have to figure out a way to get beyond that guilt.
Hmm. What was
Because I
on your
feel like,
list? Oh, sorry.
oh, I just had a couple more. Lounging around, laying around,
Hmm.
which is same as watching TV all day. Buying fast food.
Oh,
Yeah, I will feel guilty about that
wait. So do you feel guilty about buying fast food for the family or just for yourself?
for the family.
Okay.
Like I should have made food. Why did, like I'm feeding them crap or whatever. I feel
Yeah.
that. And the last one was eating crap food, like low quality food. And it's like that, I feel very guilty about it.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of times.
Because you feel like you should have done something differently?
Or I feel, yeah, or God, why couldn't I just say no to that?
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
But then I feel guilty about feeling that guilt because I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. You have this what, once a month? You know what I mean? So then there's this
Right.
whole guilt cycle. I feel like that's what I should have Googled, guilt cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a guilt cycle?
So, where I went with this was why are we talking about guilt? How does it affect our wellness, our health, our weight, everything? Right? In
Yeah.
some ways, guilt can be good because guilt keeps us on the right path to what we need to do. Like, oh, I shouldn't eat out because I'm trying to lose weight. So then that
Mhm.
guilt keeps you kind of on the right track. Or I need to work out because I told myself that I would. So then you're like, I don't want to feel guilty, so I go work out. Or I'm going to meet somebody, so I said I would, so I'm going to go. So it keeps you
Mhm.
where you say you want to be. But the flip side of it is that if you have guilt, it increases your cortisol, which means that it's more stress on your body, and then which diverts your body's attention from daily functions to those functions essential for stress management.
So
So
you're
you're,
saying guilt causes stress?
yeah, And then you have digestion issues, you could have sleep issues, you could have headaches, blood pressure, you could have anxiety, all stemming from guilt.
Mm, wow. And I feel like sometimes we don't really realize a lot of this is guilt. Like even when we were going through that list, I'm like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
I do have that.
And I'm sure there's so many more that we didn't even mention.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Being on your phone is another guilt,
Yeah. That's a big
right?
one. Yes.
Yeah.
So, the other direction that I went with this was, where does this come from? Why do we feel guilt?
Yeah, I did the same thing. Like why?
What did you find?
So a couple things. Some of depending on the guilt, I think is the different going to be a different answer. Like I looked at why do I feel guilty when I don't do my exercises that I said I was going to do? And I think for me, it's because it's a missed opportunity to reach my goals quicker.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like I
yeah.
feel guilty because it's like I know I want this to be my goal, but now I'm one day farther away from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One day, and I don't know how to fix that, but maybe just being aware that that's why I feel that guilt.
Well, I think part of that is our expectation is so huge for ourselves, you
Yes, that
know?
was yes. So I wrote this question down for you and I and whoever else. Do we hold ourselves to ridiculously high standards?
Yeah. I think that's part of where guilt comes from, don't you think?
It's got to be. Because if you told me you missed your arm exercise, I'd be like, okay, do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
would.
But like me, I feel like all this guilt inside, like, oh, I can't believe I didn't do it. Why have I not? You know?
Yep.
Because I probably have these ridiculously high standards.
It happened to me today. I was walking, I told you, after so many days. And I was like, should I do another loop? Because I do normally do two, which ends up being 4 miles. And I was approaching my house and I was like, I'm tired, but I really should do another two
You were
miles, but
feeling
I'm
guilty, weren't
tired.
you?
I was like having this negotiation in my mind. I'm really tired, but I should do two, so I'll feel better, but I'm really
Mhm.
tired. And then I turned towards home and I felt kind of guilty. I'm like, you know what? My body's telling me I need more rest.
Good for you. That had to be hard though.
It was really hard. It
Yes.
was really hard.
Yeah, I know that feeling though, where you're like, oh, just go a little bit more. Oh, just, yeah.
Yeah. So, I was reading the Harvard Business Review. They have some really good articles there. We get a lot of information from them. And they said the point is we feel pressure to be doing something always, especially things that show we are progressing. And when we're not, we feel guilty. And we believe that our successes and our failures are completely due to our own actions or lack thereof. So if you don't do your arm exercises, it's your fault that you don't have the arms that you want, the Michelle
Right.
Obama arms.
Right. And then I get really mad about it
Yeah.
because it's
But
yeah.
I mean, you
Go
can't
ahead.
say that out loud to somebody, but then we make all the kind of excuses like I didn't have time and I couldn't do it and I whatever. But it's the fact that we're just not keeping that commitment to ourselves.
That's upsetting. It's actually upsetting that we're not doing it, keeping that commitment to ourselves.
Yeah. Well,
So you think,
also, I think part of that comes back to, like, as children, we're taught that if you think about yourself, that's selfish. If you take time for yourself, it's selfish. So it's so ingrained in us that we can't take time for ourselves. We can't do the things for ourselves. It feels indulgent.
right,
So then we feel guilty.
right, because there's 500 other things you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So this topic was kind of, there was one more thing before we go to our call to action. Um, goes back to something we mentioned, but research shows that asking for help makes people like you more. And
Really?
yeah, I was thinking about it. If somebody asked me, "Oh, can you help me with this?" I'd be like, "Oh, sure, no problem." But me
That is
asking
the
somebody,
coolest statistic. I love that.
and then Very Well Mind said that some of this guilt can stem from anxiety, like if we have a normal imbalance in our biochemistry, childhood experiences,
I read that too. Yeah.
from culture. So
Yeah.
Eastern culture is big on guilt.
Oh,
Religion,
mm-hmm.
um,
Religious guilt.
yeah, social pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a bunch of reasons why we feel guilty about things.
Yeah, it goes, and the one thing I read was it really goes back to our values. Whenever we feel like we have
Yep.
compromised our values, that's where that guilt just comes right in,
Yeah.
spotlights.
We
So,
just need to be kinder to ourselves. That's what I'm taking away from
well, and
this.
I really think, well, the first thing you got to do is forgive yourself, because I think I don't think anybody listening is going to just walk away from today not having guilt. But I
Yep.
think if you can say, oh, yeah, I feel guilty about it, whatever. And then this is the one that I really think we have to do is be curious about why you feel it.
Yeah.
Like ask yourself the questions, like, why do I feel guilty about this?
Yep.
And really, really, really dig into that. Because I think that'll help you figure it out.
I love that. I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah. Right.
So, what's your call to action?
Oh, so my call to action doesn't necessarily have to do with guilt. Well, a little bit actually is I was on fire with doing my my 6 minute, 7 minute, 8 minute arms every day. And once school started, it's just been hit or I mean it's at least 3 times a week, but it's been hit or miss. And I
Hmm.
really liked doing it every day. So I really think I need to set specific times. Like when I get up and I'm drinking my coffee, I need to in my head envision my day and then say, okay, from 7:30 to 7:45, I have to get it in that window, or
Hmm.
maybe it'll be later in the day. But I think that that's where I want to set my call to action this week
I like
because
it.
it's important for me to get back to that.
Hmm.
So, what about
I
you?
am going to maintain the call to actions I've had for the past couple of weeks.
Okay.
I don't have clearance yet for the weight training, but when I get that, I'm going to go start that back again. And I'm going to continue to be dairy free. It's been a little tough for me, but I'm going to maintain my CTAs without feeling guilty for adding a new one.
Oh, good way to bring it all together with a nice little bow on top. That was good. So, all right. Well, oh, I wanted to just do a plug for our call to actions because a lot of our topics come from our call to actions. So if you're
Yes.
interested in joining our call to actions that we run them month to month, so get on your November, December list. I tell everybody this is the Bermuda Triangle of the year. You got your Halloween, your Thanksgiving, and your holiday season. And if you need help getting through it with just a maintain, or you just need that person that's going to text you in the middle of the week and say, hey, I really need to get back on track. Help me. That's what you and I do. And we would love for you to join us so you could reach out to one of us on our
Yeah.
Facebook page,
Yeah.
right?
But yeah, join our Facebook page. Wait, what? There's a lot of good
Mhm.
inspiration there too.
And take our poll when we post it.
Yes, definitely.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.